Victoria Ashford slammed her palm on the marble counter. "You're fired. Get out of my hotel. Now." Marcus Williams stood frozen, mop in hand, worn uniform stained with bleach. 50 employees watching. His voice came out barely a whisper. "Ma'am, my daughter needs her medication tonight. Can I at least get my last paycheck?" Victoria turned her back. "Security will mail it." Marcus walked toward the exit, head down, dignity stripped. Then the windows rattled, rotor blades, thunder. A Navy Blackhawk descended into the parking lot. A colonel stepped out, megaphone raised. "We're here for Master Sergeant Shadowwolf. We know he's inside." Victoria's blood went cold. The janitor stopped walking. "Comment your city below. Let's see how far this story travels." The Grand Monarch Hotel woke up at 5:47 a.m. Marcus Williams had been awake since 4:30. His body still ran on military time. 16 years of discipline didn't disappear just because he'd hung up the uniform. He stood in the supply closet, organizing mop heads, counting bleach bottles, preparing for another day of being invisible. Invisible was good. Invisible was safe. Invisible meant nobody asked questions. "Marcus!" Gerald, his supervisor, rushed down the corridor, clipboard shaking, face pale. "Board meeting in the Azure Ballroom. They need the floor spotless in 20 minutes. The new CEO is bringing investors." Marcus nodded. "Already done. Finished at 5. Gerald stopped. Blinked. 5. "That's a 4,000 square foot room." "I know." "How do you—" Gerald shook his head. 3 years and I still can't figure you out." Marcus said nothing. He didn't explain that in his former life, he could establish a forward operating base in hostile territory in under 3 hours. Mopping a ballroom was nothing. Gerald stared at him for a long moment. "You're different, Marcus. You know that." "I'm just a janitor." "No." Gerald's voice dropped. "You're not. I don't know what you are, but you're not just a janitor." Marcus picked up his mop. 20 minutes. I'll check the ballroom." He walked away before Gerald could say anything else. At 7:15 a.m., Marcus checked his phone. One text from Mrs. Patterson, his neighbor. "Nia's up. Made her breakfast. She's asking when Daddy's coming home." Marcus typed back, "Tell her I'll be there by 4. Tell her I love her." He stared at the screen for a moment. Nia's face appeared in his mind. 9 years old. Bright eyes. Bright smile. The only light left in his world. She had sickle cell disease, the severe kind. The kind that meant pain crises, hospital visits, medications that cost more than rent. Every month the same impossible math. Rent, utilities, food, medicine. Medicine always won. Everything else could wait. His phone buzzed again. "She says she loves you too, and she wants spaghetti tonight. Extra cheese." Marcus almost smiled. Almost. 4 more hours. Then he'd pick up her prescription. Then he'd go home. Then he'd make her favorite dinner and watch her fall asleep. That was his whole world now. That was enough. Victoria Ashford stepped out of the elevator at 8:47 a.m., heels clicking, jaw tight, eyes scanning for weakness. 33 years old, youngest CEO in the company's history. Not by choice. Her mother, Eleanor Ashford, had built this empire from nothing. 1 hotel became 5. 5 became 20. 20 became a dynasty worth $400 million. Then 6 months ago, Eleanor collapsed in this very lobby. Heart attack. Dead before the ambulance arrived. Victoria inherited everything. The hotels, the board, the doubt. She's too young. She's too emotional. She'll run it into the ground. Victoria heard the whispers, saw the sideways glances, felt the knives waiting for her back. So she became ice. No weakness. No mercy. No mistakes. "Ma'am." Rachel, her assistant, hurried beside her. "The board meeting is in 30 minutes. Also, there's been a complaint." Victoria didn't slow down. What kind of complaint? One of the janitorial staff. He's been using unauthorized cleaning methods, some kind of industrial technique that's not in our protocol manual. Victoria stopped walking. Unauthorized? Yes, ma'am. The night manager finally reported it. Apparently, it's been going on for months. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Unauthorized meant unapproved. Unapproved meant liability. Liability meant weakness. Who is it? Rachel checked her tablet. Marcus Williams, 3rd floor janitorial. Get him. Now. Marcus was restocking supplies when Gerald found him. Marcus. Gerald's voice was shaking. CEO wants to see you. Right now. Marcus straightened slowly. What for? I don't know, but she doesn't look happy. Marcus followed Gerald through the service corridors. His mind was calm. Heartbeat steady. He'd faced Taliban ambushes with less warning. A hotel CEO didn't scare him. But something in Gerald's voice made him uneasy. Something was wrong. They reached the main lobby. Victoria stood near the front desk. Rachel beside her. 3 security guards behind her. The morning shift was arriving. Housekeepers, bellhops, front desk clerks. Maybe 50 people in the lobby now, all pretending not to watch. Victoria's eyes locked onto Marcus as he approached. You're Marcus Williams? Yes, ma'am. You've been using unauthorized cleaning techniques in this hotel. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. Marcus kept his voice level. I've been using a sanitization method I learned in the military. It's more effective than the standard protocol. Kills 99.9% of bacteria in half the time. It's not in our manual. No, ma'am, because it's better than what's in your manual. The lobby went silent. Gerald closed his eyes. Oh, no. Victoria's jaw tightened. Excuse me. Marcus didn't flinch. Your protocol uses a chlorine-based solution with a 15-minute contact time. My method uses a quaternary ammonium compound with UV activation. 8 minutes. Better coverage. Fewer chemicals. I've been using it in high-traffic areas to reduce contamination risks. Victoria stared at him. Nobody talked to her like this. Nobody. You're telling me you know better than our certified protocols. I'm telling you I've sanitized field hospitals in combat zones. I know what works. Whispers rippled through the watching staff. Combat zones. The janitor. Victoria felt the eyes on her, felt the doubt, felt the challenge. This man was undermining her authority. In front of everyone. In front of her own employees. She couldn't show weakness, couldn't back down, couldn't let a janitor make her look uncertain. Her voice turned to ice. Mr. Williams, you don't follow protocol, you don't work here. Marcus felt it coming, saw it in her eyes, the fear disguised as authority. Ma'am. You're fired, effective immediately. The lobby gasped. Marcus stood perfectly still. His hands didn't shake. His expression didn't change. But inside, something cracked. Not for himself. For Nia. Her medication. $218 due today. He had $147 in his account. His voice came out quiet, controlled. Ma'am, I have a daughter. She's sick. Her medication is due tonight. Can I at least get my last paycheck before I go? Victoria heard him. She saw the desperation he was trying to hide. But 50 staff members were watching. The board meeting was in 20 minutes. The investors were arriving in an hour. She couldn't show softness, couldn't show hesitation. Compassion was weakness. Her mother had taught her that. Security will mail your final check. Please surrender your badge and leave the premises. Marcus unclipped his badge slowly, handed it to Gerald. Their eyes met for a moment. Gerald looked away, ashamed. Marcus turned and walked toward the service exit. 50 people watched him go. Some felt bad. Most stayed silent. Victoria's voice rang out behind him. Let this be a reminder to all staff. Protocol exists for a reason. Deviation will not be tolerated. Marcus pushed through the door, The morning sun hit his face. He stood there alone, unemployed, unable to afford his daughter's medicine. In his pocket, his phone buzzed. "Mrs. Patterson, Nia's asking if you can bring ice cream tonight. She says her chest hurts a little, but she's being brave." Marcus's hands began to shake. He had failed her. Inside the lobby, the staff dispersed slowly. Whispers everywhere. "Did you see his face? Cold as ice. He said he was in the military. You think that's true?" "Probably just talk. Trying to save his job." Gerald stood frozen. He'd worked with Marcus for 3 years. The man never bragged, never complained, never talked about himself. But Gerald had noticed things. The way Marcus moved, efficient, precise. Like every motion was calculated. The way his eyes scanned rooms automatically. Like he was checking for threats. The old green duffel bag in his locker. Faded patches. Military insignia scratched off. Gerald had served in the Army 30 years ago. Basic training, nothing special, but he recognized the signs. Marcus Williams wasn't just a janitor. Victoria returned to her office. Her hands were steady, her face was calm. But something nagged at her. Something in the way Marcus had spoken. Confident, controlled, like he'd faced worse than her. Field hospitals and combat zones. She opened her laptop, searched quaternary ammonium UV sanitization military. Results loaded. Her eyes widened. The technique Marcus described was real, developed by the U.S. Army Medical Corps for rapid field decontamination. Accuracy rate 99.7%. Time efficiency 47%, faster than civilian protocols. She'd fired him for using a superior method. She'd fired him for being better than her manual. Victoria closed the laptop, pushed the feeling down. "I made the decision. I stand by it." But the doubt remained. Marcus walked 6 blocks to the pharmacy. His mind was racing. Options, possibilities, solutions. He could pawn something, but he'd already pawned everything of value. He could ask Mrs. Patterson for a loan, but she was on fixed income. Social Security barely covered her own bills. He could call his old military contacts. No. That would mean explaining, answering questions, reopening doors he'd sealed shut 5 years ago. No. He'd figure it out. He always did. The pharmacy was small, independent. Mr. Okonkwo, the owner, knew Marcus by name. Marcus approached the counter. "I'm here for Nia Williams, the hydroxyurea prescription." Mr. Okonkwo typed on his computer. His face fell. "Marcus, it's $218.47, with the price increase this month." "Price increase?" The manufacturer raised it again. "I'm sorry, I can't control it." Marcus pulled out his wallet, counted the bills, the coins. $147.23. "I'm short." Mr. Okonkwo looked at him with pain in his eyes. "Marcus, I wish I could help, but I'm barely keeping this place open. Insurance companies, regulations, the big chains." "I understand." Marcus stood there, staring at the money in his hand. Not enough. Behind him, the door chimed. Someone entered. He didn't turn around. Mr. Okonkwo leaned forward, lowered his voice. "Listen, I can give you a 3-day sample, enough to get through the weekend. But Monday, you need the full prescription. She can't miss doses." Marcus's throat tightened. "Thank you. Thank you." He took the small packet, put his money away, turned to leave. A woman blocked his path. She wore a Navy dress uniform, captain's insignia, silver eagles on her shoulders, gray hair pulled back tight. Her eyes were fixed on him. Marcus Williams. He stopped. His whole body went rigid. "Master Sergeant, 16 years, 7th Special Forces Group, call sign Shadow Wolf." The pharmacy went silent. Mr. Okonkwo stared. Marcus's voice was ice. "You have the wrong man." "No, I don't." She stepped closer. Her voice dropped. Operation Desert Serpent, Somalia, 2019. Your team was ambushed in the Juba Valley. 12 men. You carried 3 wounded through 14 miles of hostile territory, evaded enemy patrols for 9 hours, killed 8 insurgents with a knife when your ammunition ran out. Marcus didn't move, didn't breathe. You saved 9 lives that night. Silver Star, Purple Heart, Army Commendation Medal. That man is dead. Then I'm talking to his ghost. She pulled out a tablet. Because 4 American aid workers are being held hostage in Libya right now. They've been captive for 72 hours. 3 rescue attempts have failed. 6 soldiers are dead. She turned the screen toward him. Satellite imagery. A compound. Armed guards. Heat signatures. Standard protocols aren't working. Our analysts can't crack the pattern, but you can. Marcus stared at the screen. His trained eye was already working, already analyzing. Guard rotation. 3-hour cycles. Blind spot on the northwest corner. Structural weakness near the generator. He shut it down, pushed the tablet away. I have a daughter. She needs me. I'm not going back. The captain didn't flinch. One of those hostages is a single mother, Dr. Sarah Chen. She went to Libya to help refugees. Her daughter is 7 years old. Her name is Emma. Marcus closed his eyes. Emma is waiting at home right now, just like your Nia, wondering if her mommy is ever coming back. Silence. The captain continued. I'm not asking you to go to Libya. I'm asking you to look at the intel. Find something we missed. That's all. Marcus opened his eyes. And if I do, if I find something, then 4 people come home, including Sarah, including a 7-year-old girl who gets her mother back. Marcus thought of Nia, waiting at home, trusting him to return. Then he thought of Emma, 7 years old, wondering if she'd ever see her mother again. The same age Nia was when her own mother died. The same fear, the same prayers, the same desperate hope. Where's your command center? The captain almost smiled. We've set up at the Grand Monarch Hotel, Conference Room B. The CEO gave us access. Marcus laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Of course she did. Victoria was in the board meeting when Rachel burst through the door. Ma'am, you need to see this. Now. Victoria looked at the 8 board members staring at her. We're in the middle of... The Navy is landing a helicopter in our parking lot. The room went silent. Victoria stood, walked to the window. Below, a Navy UH-60 Blackhawk was descending through the morning air. Rotor wash scattered debris across the perfectly manicured grounds. Soldiers poured out. Armed, tactical gear. Setting up a perimeter. A captain walked toward the hotel entrance, and beside her, in his worn janitor's uniform, walked Marcus Williams. Victoria's blood went cold. What the hell? Harrison, the board chairman, joined her at the window. 72 years old, Pentagon connections. He recognized military insignia at a glance. That's a special operations transport. Whoever they're here for, it's not small. Victoria watched Marcus walk through the lobby doors. He moved differently now, not like a janitor, like a soldier. Rachel appeared at the door again, face white. Ma'am, the captain is requesting full access to Conference Room B. She says it's a matter of national security. Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. And she says they're here for Marcus Williams. The board erupted. The janitor. What does the Navy want with a janitor? This is absurd. Victoria said nothing. She just stared out the window. 30 minutes ago, she'd fired Marcus Williams in front of 50 employees, called him a protocol violation, a liability, a nobody. Now the United States Navy was landing helicopters for him. Harrison's voice was quiet, cold. Victoria, what did you do? She didn't answer, because she didn't know. The Azure conference room transformed into a military command center within an hour. Satellite feeds covered every screen. Secure communications equipment lined the walls. Armed guards stood at every entrance. Marcus stood at the center table. Captain Diana Reeves spread classified documents in front of him. Libya, coastal compound, here. She pointed at the map. Held by a militia group called the Red Sword. They took the aid workers 6 days ago. $20 million ransom. Marcus studied the imagery. His mind slipped into old patterns. Old training. Terrain analysis. Threat assessment. Ingress and egress routes. You've attempted 3 insertions. All failed. They have early warning systems we can't locate. Our teams get within 2 kilometers and the compound goes dark. Hostages moved. Clock resets. Casualties. 6 dead. 9 wounded. Marcus's jaw tightened. Show me the thermal scans. She pulled up the data. Heat signatures bloomed across the screen. Marcus leaned in, eyes scanning, processing. There. He pointed at the northwest corner. Captain Reeves frowned. That's just a generator. No. The thermal bloom is wrong. A generator that size would produce a concentrated heat signature. This is diffused, dispersed. He traced his finger across the image. They're venting heat underground. There's a tunnel system. They're moving the hostages through tunnels whenever they detect incoming aircraft. That's why your teams can't pin them down. Captain Reeves stared at the screen, then at Marcus. Our analysts studied this for 6 days. Your analysts weren't trained by Master Sergeant Damon Cole. Reeves went quiet. She knew that name. Everyone in Special Operations knew that name. Damon Cole. Legend. Killed in Somalia. Marcus's partner. Marcus's best friend. I'm sorry, she said softly. I know what he meant to you. Marcus didn't respond. His eyes stayed on the screen. The tunnel entrance will be disguised. Natural terrain feature. Cave mouth or dried riverbed. Find that you find the hostages. And if we find it, Marcus traced his finger along the map. Insertion here. 3 clicks east. Night approach through the wadi. The tunnel entrance will have minimal security because they think it's hidden. You want us to use the tunnel. I want you to collapse it. Reeves blinked. Collapse it. The tunnels are their escape route. Take that away, they're trapped in the compound. Standard assault from the south. They'll have nowhere to run. Reeves studied his face. The certainty. The calm. How do you know this will work? Marcus finally looked at her. Because it's exactly what Damon would have done. Victoria stood outside the conference room, watching through the glass. She saw Marcus commanding the room, saw military officers deferring to him, saw classified documents spread across the table. Rachel appeared beside her, voice trembling. Ma'am, I found his file, his personnel file, his military file. It was sealed, but the captain's office released a summary. Her hand shook as she handed over the tablet. Victoria read, Master Sergeant Marcus Williams, enlisted 2003, 7th Special Forces Group, MOS 18B Special Forces Weapons Sergeant, Advanced Reconnaissance and Direct Action Specialist. Deployed Afghanistan 4 tours, Iraq 2 tours, Somalia, Niger, Syria. Commendations: Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, 2. Army Commendation Medal 4, Combat Infantryman Badge, Operation Desert Serpent, 2019. Led element through 14 miles of hostile territory under fire. Personally eliminated 8 enemy combatants in close combat. Evacuated 3 wounded personnel. Saved 9 lives. Note: voluntarily separated from service in 2020 following death of spouse. Single parent to daughter with chronic medical condition. Victoria's hands were shaking. She looked up, through the glass. Marcus was pointing at something on the screen. The captain was nodding. Victoria had fired a decorated war hero. A man who saved 9 lives. A man who gave 16 years to his country. A man who was raising a sick daughter alone. She'd fired him for mopping a floor too well. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. Control everything. Show no weakness. But what if her mother was wrong? What if strength wasn't about control? What if it was about seeing people for who they really were? Victoria stared through the glass, and for the first time in 6 months, she didn't know what to do. 3 hours passed inside that conference room. Victoria didn't move from the window. She watched Marcus work, watched him transform from the man she'd humiliated into someone she didn't recognize, someone commanding, someone powerful, someone who belonged in that room more than she'd ever belonged in any boardroom. Her phone buzzed 17 times. Board members demanding explanations, investors asking questions. She ignored them all. Rachel approached quietly. "Ma'am, the board is asking." "Tell them I'm handling it." But Mr. Harrison specifically requested, "Tell Harrison I'll brief him when I have something to brief." Victoria's voice was sharper than she intended. "Right now, I need to understand what's happening in my hotel." Rachel hesitated. "Ma'am, permission to speak freely." Victoria turned. "What?" "The staff is talking. Everyone saw what happened this morning. Everyone saw the helicopter land. They're connecting the dots." Rachel paused. "Some of them are angry. At you." Victoria felt the words like a slap. "Let them be angry." "Ma'am, I said let them be angry. They have every right to be." Victoria looked back through the glass. "I have every right to be angry at myself." Inside the conference room, Marcus was drawing on a whiteboard. Tactical diagrams, entry points, extraction routes. The military officers around him were taking notes like students in a classroom. Captain Reeves stood beside him, arms crossed, watching. "The collapse needs to happen here," Marcus said, tapping the diagram. 30 meters inside the tunnel entrance, deep enough to seal the passage, completely shallow enough that the structural damage doesn't extend to the compound itself. "What about the hostages?" a young lieutenant asked. "If they're in the tunnel when we blow it." "They won't be." Marcus turned to face him. "The thermal imaging shows movement patterns. The hostages are moved through the tunnel only during threat responses. Between alerts, they're kept in the main building. Northeast corner, 2nd floor." "How can you be sure?" "Because that's where I'd keep them." Marcus's voice was flat, certain. "Maximum security, minimum exposure, easy access to the tunnel if needed, but protected from direct assault." Captain Reeves nodded slowly. "The insertion team will need to coordinate the tunnel collapse with the main assault. Timing has to be perfect." 14-second window. Marcus circled a point on the map. "The guards rotate here every 3 hours. There's a 90-second gap in coverage during the changeover. Your demolition team hits the tunnel at the start of that gap. Main assault begins 14 seconds later before the compound can respond to the explosion." 14 seconds isn't much margin for error. "It's enough." Marcus looked at her. "I've worked with less." The room fell silent. Captain Reeves studied his face for a long moment. "You really think this will work?" "I think 6 soldiers are already dead because someone didn't see what I see." Marcus set down the marker. "I think 4 Americans are running out of time. And I think this is the best chance they've got." Reeves picked up her phone, dialed, waited. "This is Captain Reeves. Authentication code Delta 79er Alpha." A pause. "Patch me through to SOCOM. We have a viable extraction plan. Requesting immediate authorization." She stepped away from the table. Marcus stood alone at the whiteboard, staring at his own diagrams. The young lieutenant approached him. "Master Sergeant." Marcus didn't correct the title. "What is it?" "I read your file. Operation Desert Serpent." The lieutenant's voice dropped. "What you did in Somalia, I've never seen anything like it. 14 miles through hostile territory. 8 kills with a knife." Marcus said nothing. "How did you do it? How did you keep going when everything went wrong?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to face the young officer. "You don't keep going because you're brave. You keep going because the alternative is worse." His voice was hollow. You keep going because the men behind you are counting on you. Because if you stop, they die. Because giving up isn't something you know how to do. But you lost men that night. 3 of them. I know exactly how many I lost. Marcus's jaw tightened. I carried their faces home with me. I still carry them. Then how do you live with it? Marcus looked at him, really looked at him, young, eager, still believing that war had clean answers. You don't live with it, you survive it. There's a difference. Before the lieutenant could respond, Captain Reeves returned. We're greenlit. SOCOM approved the plan. Insertion team deploys in 6 hours. Marcus nodded. Then my work here is done. Not quite. Reeves held up her phone. The Pentagon wants to thank you personally. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs is on the line. Tell him I was never here. Marcus. Tell him Shadow Wolf died in Somalia. Marcus picked up his jacket from the chair. I have a daughter waiting for me. That's the only thing that matters now. He walked towards the door. Marcus. Reeves's voice stopped him. The hostages. If this works, if they come home, that's because of you. Don't forget that. Marcus didn't turn around. Let me know when it's done. He pushed through the door and nearly collided with Victoria. She'd been standing right outside, listening to every word. Their eyes met. Marcus saw something different in her face now. The ice was cracking, something human showing through. Mr. Williams, I need to go. Please. Victoria's voice caught. I need to say something. There's nothing to say. There's everything to say. She stepped closer. I made a mistake this morning. A terrible mistake. I didn't see you. I didn't try to see you. I saw a janitor who wasn't following rules, and I made you an example because I was scared of looking weak. Marcus said nothing. I read your file. I know what you did, what you sacrificed. Victoria's eyes were wet. I fired a war hero in front of 50 people. I humiliated a man who bled for this country. And I did it because... Her voice broke. Because I'm so afraid of failing that I've become the worst version of myself. Marcus studied her face, looking for the angle, the manipulation, the corporate doublespeak. He found only pain. Your mother, he said quietly. She taught you that compassion is weakness. Victoria flinched. How did you... Because I've met leaders like her, in the military, in combat. Marcus's voice softened slightly. Hard people who confused cruelty with strength. They usually got men killed. I don't want to be like her. Then don't be. I don't know how. Victoria wiped her eyes. She's the only model I ever had. She built everything. She was always right. Even when she was wrong, she was right because she was powerful enough to make wrong look right. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Power doesn't make you right. It just makes you loud. He paused. Real strength isn't about control. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, and having the courage to admit when you've hurt them. Victoria looked at him. This man she'd tried to destroy. This man who had every reason to hate her. Can you ever forgive me? Marcus thought about Nia, about the medication he still couldn't afford, about the humiliation of walking past 50 colleagues with his badge stripped away. Forgiveness isn't given, it's earned. Then let me earn it. How? Victoria reached into her pocket, pulled out an envelope. This is a job offer. Director of Security Operations. Salary, benefits, medical coverage for your daughter. Everything you need. Marcus didn't take it. I don't want your guilt money. It's not guilt money, it's justice. Victoria pressed the envelope toward him. You're overqualified to mop floors. You're overqualified for almost anything. But security operations, threat assessment, risk management. She paused. That's what you were born to do. I was born to be a soldier. I chose to be a father. You can be both. Marcus looked at the envelope, then at Victoria. Why do you care? You have a board to answer to, a company to run. Why does one janitor matter? Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Because my mother died 6 months ago, and I've been trying to be her ever since. Cold, controlled, perfect. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. But my mother was miserable. She drove away everyone who loved her. She died alone in this lobby, surrounded by strangers who worked for her, but didn't know her. Marcus said nothing. I don't want to be her. I don't want to end up alone. Victoria met his eyes. And when I watched you in that room, when I saw the way you commanded respect without demanding it, the way those officers deferred to you, I realized that's what real leadership looks like. Not control. Connection. Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then he took the envelope. I'll think about it. Victoria exhaled, relief flooding her face. That's all I ask. Marcus tucked the envelope into his jacket. Right now, I have somewhere I need to be. Your daughter. Her medication. I still can't afford it. Victoria's face changed. How much? It's not your. How much, Marcus? He hesitated. $280. I have $147. Victoria reached for her purse. Don't. Marcus's voice was sharp. I don't take charity. It's not charity. It's an advance on your salary. Victoria pulled out her wallet. If you take the job, this is yours anyway. If you don't, you can pay me back. She held out the cash. Marcus looked at it. Every instinct screaming at him to refuse, to handle it himself, to prove he didn't need anyone. But Nia's face appeared in his mind. Her smile, her trust, her medication sitting behind a pharmacy counter while her father's pride kept her from getting what she needed. He took the money. I'll pay you back. I know you will. Victoria paused. Go take care of your daughter, Marcus. The Navy can wait. The job can wait. She can't. Marcus nodded once. Then he turned and walked away. Victoria watched him go. Rachel appeared beside her. Ma'am, are you okay? Victoria wiped her eyes. No, but I'm going to be. She turned back toward the conference room, where Captain Reeves was coordinating the mission that Marcus had made possible. 4 Americans were going to come home. Because a janitor saw what the Pentagon couldn't see. And because Victoria Ashford, for the first time in her life, had tried to see someone for who they really were. The pharmacy was still open when Marcus returned. Mr. Okonkwo looked up in surprise. Marcus, I thought you'd gone home. I have enough now. Marcus laid the bills on the counter. The full prescription. For Nia. Mr. Okonkwo counted the money slowly. His eyes were curious, but he didn't ask questions. Give me a minute. While he waited, Marcus pulled out his phone. 3 missed calls from Mrs. Patterson. A text message. Nia's asking where you are. She says her chest hurts, but she's being brave. Please come home soon. Marcus's hands tightened around the phone. Chest pain. That could mean anything. Mild discomfort, or the beginning of a crisis. He typed back, on my way. 10 minutes. Mr. Okonkwo returned with the medication. A white bag. A small bottle that cost more than food for a week. Thank you, Marcus said. Marcus. The pharmacist's voice was gentle. That woman, the military officer, she seemed to know you. She knows someone I used to be. And who's that? Marcus looked at the prescription in his hand. The medicine that would keep his daughter alive another month. A man who thought he could save the world. He picked up the bag. Turns out I can barely save one little girl. That's not nothing. Marcus paused at the door. No, it's everything. The walk home took 12 minutes. Marcus pushed himself faster than usual, the prescription clutched tight in his hand. Mrs. Patterson met him at the apartment door. Her face was lined with worry. She's on the couch. Started complaining about her chest around noon. I gave her water and kept her calm, but she's been asking for you every 5 minutes. Thank you. Marcus moved past her into the apartment. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd figure it out. You always do. Mrs. Patterson gathered her purse. But you don't have to figure it out alone, Marcus. That's what neighbors are for. She left quietly. Marcus found Nia curled on the couch, wrapped in her favorite purple blanket. Her eyes were closed, but she wasn't sleeping. Baby girl! Her eyes opened. Relief flooded her face. Daddy! She tried to sit up, winced, lay back down. You're home. Marcus knelt beside her, pressed his hand against her forehead. Warm, but not feverish. He checked her pulse. Steady. Strong. How's the pain scale of 1 to 10? 4, maybe 5. Nia's voice was small. It's not as bad as last time. Good. That's good. Marcus pulled the prescription from his jacket. I got your medicine. We're going to get you feeling better, okay? Nia watched him measure the dosage. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Mrs. Patterson said you got fired today. Marcus froze. Of course, she told her. Mrs. Patterson believed in honesty and not hiding hard truths from children. Yeah, baby. I got fired. Why? He handed her the medication, watched her swallow it, bought himself time. Because I did something my boss didn't like. Was it bad? No, it was actually good. Better than what they wanted me to do. Marcus sat on the edge of the couch. But sometimes people don't like it when you're better than what they expect. It makes them feel small. Nia processed this. That's stupid. Marcus almost laughed. Yeah, it kind of is. So what are you going to do now? Marcus thought about the envelope in his jacket. The job offer, the salary that would change everything. I'm not sure yet, but I promise you, I'm going to figure it out. You always figure it out. Nia reached for his hand. You're the smartest person I know. I don't know about that. I do. She squeezed his fingers. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Something else happened today, didn't it? Something big. Marcus looked at his daughter. 9 years old. Sickle cell disease. Lost her mother at 4. Spent more time in hospitals than playgrounds. And still, somehow, she saw everything. Yeah, baby. Something big happened. Tell me. Marcus hesitated. It's complicated. I'm smart. You just said so. He laughed softly. She had him there. Some people from the military came to see me. They needed help with something important. Like superhero stuff. Something like that. Nia's eyes widened. Did you help them? I gave them information. A plan. They're going to try to save some people who are in trouble. Are the people going to be okay? Marcus thought about the satellite images, the tunnel system, the 14-second window. I hope so, baby. I really hope so. Nia was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Mom always said you were special. Before she died, she told me that Daddy was a hero, but he didn't like people knowing it. Marcus's throat tightened. She said you saved lots of people, but you never bragged. You just came home and made dinner and helped with homework like nothing happened. Nia looked at him. She said that's what real heroes do. They don't wear capes. They just show up. Marcus couldn't speak. His eyes burned. Daddy. Are you crying? No, baby. He wiped his face. Just allergies. Nia smiled. She knew better, but she didn't call him on it. Daddy. Yeah. I think those people are going to be okay, because you helped them. She squeezed his hand again. And I think you're going to be okay too. Because you're my daddy, and my daddy always figures it out. Marcus pulled her into a hug, held her tight, let her warmth seep into all the cold places inside him. I love you, Nia. You know that. I know, Daddy. All the way to the moon. And back. She giggled against his chest. That's really far. Not far enough. They stayed like that for a long time. Father and daughter. Survivor and reason to survive. Outside, the sun began to set. And somewhere across the ocean, a team of soldiers was preparing to attempt the impossible. Because a janitor saw what no one else could see. Because Shadow Wolf wasn't dead after all. At 11:47 p.m., Marcus's phone rang. He was in the kitchen washing dishes, Nia asleep in her room. The apartment was quiet, peaceful. For a few hours, he'd let himself believe that the day was over. That he could go back to being invisible. The phone shattered that illusion. Unknown number. He answered. Williams. Master Sergeant. Captain Reeves's voice was strained. We have a situation. Marcus set down the dish. What happened? The insertion team is in position. But there's a problem. The tunnel entrance, it's not where you predicted. Marcus's blood went cold. That's not possible. The thermal signature was a decoy. The real tunnel entrance is 200 meters south. Our team is pinned down, taking fire, and the hostages are being moved. Marcus closed his eyes. 200 meters. He'd missed it by 200 meters. How many casualties? 2 wounded so far. The team leader is requesting emergency extraction. Reeves paused. Marcus, if we pull out now, those hostages are dead. The militants will move them somewhere we'll never find. Then don't pull out. We don't have a new plan. The assault parameters are compromised. Without accurate intelligence. Put me on with the team leader. Silence. Captain, put me on with your team leader. Now. A click. Static. Then a new voice, tense and breathless. This is Lieutenant Commander Hayes. Who the hell is this? Someone who's going to get you out of this. Marcus moved to the kitchen table, grabbed a pen, started sketching from memory. Give me your exact position. We're 2 clicks northeast of the compound, taking sporadic fire from elevated positions. 2 men down, both stable but immobile. The tunnel entrance you found, describe it. Rock formation partially concealed by brush, but it's too small. No way they're moving hostages through there. Because it's not the main entrance, it's an air vent. Marcus sketched rapidly. The real entrance will be south of your position. Look for disturbed earth. Fresh excavation masked by natural terrain. We've already swept south. You swept for structures. Sweep for drainage patterns. The tunnel needs water management. There will be a runoff channel. Follow the channel, you find the entrance. Silence on the line. Then, how do you know this? Because I've built tunnels like this. I've destroyed tunnels like this. Marcus's voice was hard. Lieutenant Commander, you have maybe 15 minutes before those hostages disappear forever. Trust me or don't, but make the decision now. More silence. Marcus could hear gunfire in the background, shouting. Then, Bravo team shift south. Look for drainage patterns. Follow the water. Marcus waited. Pen frozen over paper. Heart pounding. 3 minutes passed. 4. 5. Then Hayes's voice, electric with adrenaline. Son of a bitch, we found it. Entrance is wide open. They're moving hostages right now. I count 4 civilians, 12 hostiles. Can you intercept? It's going to be close. Then stop talking and start moving. The line went to tactical chatter. Marcus listened helpless as the operation unfolded thousands of miles away. Gunfire. Explosions. Screaming. Then, after an eternity. Package secured. 4 civilians recovered. Hostiles neutralized. Marcus exhaled. Casualties. 2 wounded, both extracted. No KIA. Hayes's voice cracked. Whoever you are, you just saved 4 lives, and probably saved my team too. Get them home, Lieutenant Commander. Copy that. A pause. Shadow Wolf. Marcus didn't answer. Thank you, Master Sergeant. The line went dead. Marcus sat at the kitchen table staring at his sketches. His hands were shaking. 4 lives. 4 Americans going home. And he hadn't even left his apartment. His phone rang again. Captain Reeves. It's done, she said. They're all safe. Sarah Chen is asking to speak with you. Tell her she doesn't need to. She's insisting. Says she needs to thank the man who brought her back to her daughter. Marcus thought about Emma. 7 years old, waiting at home, just like Nia. Tell her to go home. Hold her daughter. That's all the thanks I need. Mom, Marcus. I have to go. My daughter might wake up. He hung up before Reeves could respond. Then he sat in the darkness of his kitchen alone and let himself feel the weight of what had just happened. Somewhere across the ocean, a mother was going home to her child. Because a janitor remembered how to be a soldier. Because Shadow Wolf, even after everything, still knew how to see what others couldn't. And in her bedroom, unaware of any of it, Nia Williams slept peacefully, dreaming of her daddy, her hero, the man who always figured it out. Morning came too soon. Marcus woke at 4:30, body running on military time, mind running on last night's adrenaline. He lay still for a moment, listening to Nia's breathing in the next room. Steady, clear, no wheezing. The medication was working. He pushed himself out of bed, splashed water on his face, stared at the mirror. The man looking back seemed older than 41, gray creeping into his temples, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 5 years ago. Somalia did that. Grief did the rest. His phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. He answered. Williams. Master Sergeant. Captain Reeves's voice was warm. I wanted to give you a personal update. Sarah Chen landed at Andrews Air Force Base 3 hours ago. She's with her daughter now. Marcus closed his eyes. Good. The other hostages are being debriefed, but they're all healthy, all safe. Reeves paused. The mission commander wanted me to pass along a message. He said the tunnel identification was textbook. Said it was the cleanest extraction he's seen in 18 years. It wasn't me. Your people did the work. Our people followed your adjustments. There's a difference. Reeves was quiet for a moment. Marcus, I have to ask. Have you thought about coming back consulting, at least part-time remote? No. The military could use. I said no. Marcus's voice hardened. I have a daughter who needs her father alive and present, not deployed to some desert waiting to catch a bullet. I understand. Do you? Reeves sighed. More than you know. I have 2 kids, missed their entire childhoods chasing missions. My son barely knows me. My daughter won't return my calls. Her voice softened. You made the right choice, Marcus. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Marcus didn't respond. One more thing, Reeves said. Victoria Ashford has been calling my office since last night. Wants to speak with you. Says it's urgent. I don't work for her anymore. Maybe that's what she wants to change. Marcus ended the call without answering. He didn't want his old job back. Didn't want Victoria's guilt or her apologies. He wanted to make his daughter breakfast, figure out how to pay next month's bills, and decide whether to accept the job offer sitting in his jacket pocket. That was enough. That had to be enough. But as he cracked eggs into a pan, Damon's voice echoed in his memory. The same words Damon said the night before Somalia. You can run from the war, brother, but the war don't run from you. Marcus pushed the thought away, focused on the eggs, on the bacon, on Nia's footsteps padding down the hall. Daddy, you're making breakfast! She ran to him, wrapped her arms around his waist. He lifted her onto the counter, kissed her forehead. Scrambled or sunny? Scrambled with cheese. Extra cheese. You got it, princess. She watched him cook, swinging her legs. Daddy? Yeah, baby. Mrs. Patterson said you used to fly helicopters. Is that true? Marcus kept his eyes on the pan. Sometimes. Was it scary? He thought about it. The night missions. The tracer fire lighting up darkness, the sound of metal tearing through metal. Sometimes. But you did it anyway. I did. Why? Marcus turned to face her. His daughter. 9 years old. Eyes full of questions he'd spent 5 years avoiding. Because there were people who needed help, and I could help them. Like a superhero. He smiled. Not like a superhero. Superheroes don't get scared. I was scared all the time. Naya tilted her head. Then why did you do it? Because being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you're scared and you do it anyway. She processed this. Daddy. Yeah. I'm scared sometimes. About being sick. About going to the hospital. Marcus set down the spatula, took her hands. I know, baby. I know. But I try to be brave, like you. His throat tightened. You're the bravest person I know, Nia. You know that? She smiled. That smile that could light up any darkness. I know, Daddy. You tell me every day. He pulled her into a hug. Held on longer than usual. This was why he'd left. This was why he'd walked away from everything. For moments like this. For her. The knock came at 7:15. Marcus tensed, old instincts kicking in. Nobody knocked on his door this early. Nobody except trouble. Naya, go to your room. But Daddy. Now baby, take your breakfast. She grabbed her plate, disappeared down the hall. Marcus approached the door, checked the peephole. Victoria Ashford stood in the hallway. Alone. No security, no assistant. She looked different. The ice was gone. Something raw underneath. He opened the door. Mr. Williams. Marcus. What? My name is Marcus. You can use it. She blinked, thrown off. I wanted to apologize. What I did yesterday. You already apologized at the hotel. That wasn't enough. Victoria's voice cracked. I've been up all night reading about Operation Desert Serpent. About what you did. What you lost. Marcus's jaw tightened. That's classified. Captain Reeves released a summary, enough to understand. Victoria's eyes were wet. You carried 3 wounded men through 14 miles of enemy territory. You killed 8 people with a knife to protect your team. You held your best friend while he died. Stop. And then you came home alone. Your wife had just been diagnosed. Your daughter was 4 years old. And instead of falling apart, you held it together for her. I said stop. You took a janitor job because it let you be home by 4 every day. Because you could pick her up from school. Because you could make her dinner and help with homework and be there when she woke up from nightmares. Marcus's hands were shaking. What's your point? Victoria stepped closer, tears streaming down her face. My point is that I fired a hero. I humiliated a man who deserved a medal, not a termination. And I did it because I was scared and stupid and so obsessed with control that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Silence. I can't undo what I did, she continued. I can't take back those words. I can't erase the way everyone looked at you when you walked out. Her voice broke. But I can try to make it right, if you'll let me. Marcus studied her face, looking for the lie, the angle, the manipulation. He found nothing but pain. Come inside. Victoria followed him into the small apartment. She looked around, took in the worn furniture, the medical bills on the counter, the crayon drawings on the refrigerator. This is where you live. This is where I raise my daughter. She flinched at the correction. A door creaked. They both turned. Nia stood in the hallway, plate empty, watching. Daddy, is this the pretty lady? Marcus sighed. I told you to stay in your room. I finished my eggs. Nia walked closer, studying Victoria. You're the one who made Daddy sad yesterday. Victoria knelt down to Nia's level. Yes, I am, and I'm very sorry. Nia considered this. Are you going to make him sad again? No, I'm going to try to make things better. Promise. Victoria looked at Marcus, then back at Nia. Promise. Nia extended her pinky. Pinky promise, that's the strongest kind. Victoria smiled despite her tears, linked her pinky with Nia's. Pinky promise. Nia turned to Marcus. Daddy, I think she means it. Marcus looked at his daughter. This girl who could see through anyone. You think so? Yeah, her eyes are wet. People don't fake wet eyes. Victoria laughed. A real laugh. Surprised. She's something else, Victoria said. She's everything, Marcus replied. He looked at the envelope still sitting on his kitchen counter, the job offer he hadn't opened. I need to think about it. Victoria stood. Take all the time you need, and if you say no, I'll find another way to make this right. Whatever it takes. She walked toward the door. Stopped. Marcus? Yeah. For what it's worth, I think Nia's lucky to have you, and I think you're brave for choosing her over everything else. She left before he could respond. Nia tugged Marcus's hand. Daddy, what's in the envelope? A job offer. A good one. Are you going to take it? Marcus looked at the numbers on the paper. The salary, the benefits, the medical coverage that would change everything. Maybe, baby, maybe. 3 days passed. Marcus stayed home with Nia, made her breakfast every morning, helped with homework every afternoon, watched cartoons every evening. He told himself he was thinking about the job offer, processing, deciding. But really, he was hiding. From the decision, from the world, from the man he used to be. On the third day his phone rang. Gerald's number. Marcus. Gerald's voice was shaking. I know you don't work here anymore, but something's happening. You need to know. Marcus straightened. What is it? Harrison, the board chairman. He's been making calls all weekend, digging into your background. Let him dig. There's nothing to find. That's not what he's saying. Gerald paused. He's called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. He's claiming you falsified your military records, saying the Army never heard of anyone called Shadow Wolf, saying Victoria hired a fraud. Marcus's blood went cold. That's a lie. I know, but he's got documents, official-looking stuff, Pentagon letterhead, service record discrepancies. Gerald's voice dropped. He's telling everyone you were dishonorably discharged in 2016, that everything about you is fake. Marcus stood frozen in his kitchen, his mind racing. Forgery. Harrison had forged military documents. When's the meeting? Tomorrow 7 a.m. He's invited press. This is going to be everywhere, Marcus. Does Victoria know? She's been trying to fight it, but the board is turning against her. Harrison's been undermining her since her mother died. This is his play. Take you down, take her down, take control of everything. Marcus thought about Nia, about the medication, about the insurance he'd been counting on. 4 days. He'd had hope for 4 days. I'll be there. Marcus, you don't have to. I'll be there. He hung up, stood in the silence of his apartment. Then he picked up his phone and made another call. Captain Reeves, I need a favor. The Grand Monarch Hotel boardroom was full when Marcus arrived. 12 senior staff members sat around the polished table, department heads, vice presidents, people who'd spent careers in hospitality while Marcus was crawling through deserts. Harrison sat at the head of the table, 72 years old, silver hair, cold eyes, the kind of man who measured worth in titles and pedigrees. Ah, Mr. Williams. Harrison's voice dripped with false warmth. Our mysterious janitor, please have a seat. Marcus didn't sit. He stood at the end of the table, letting them look up at him. Victoria sat in the corner, face pale, eyes desperate. She'd been stripped of her position at the head of the table. Harrison's power play was already working. I understand there are questions about my background, Marcus said. Questions is an understatement. Harrison slid a folder across the table. These documents indicate that your military service was fabricated, that you were never a special forces operator, that the name Shadow Wolf appears nowhere in official records. Marcus looked at the folder, didn't touch it. Where did you get those documents? Sources within the Defense Department, people who know how to find the truth. People who know how to create lies, you mean? Harrison's face hardened. Are you calling me a liar? I'm calling you desperate. Marcus met his eyes. You've been trying to force Victoria out since her mother died. This isn't about me. It's about power. This is about protecting this company from fraud. Harrison stood. Ladies and gentlemen, I have evidence that Marcus Williams never served in the Special Forces, that his medals were fabricated, that his entire history is a lie designed to manipulate Victoria Ashford into giving him a position he never earned. The board members shifted uncomfortably. Some avoided Marcus's eyes. Others stared at him with suspicion. The press is waiting outside, Harrison continued. By noon, every news outlet in the country will know that the Grand Monarch Hotel hired a con man. Our stock will plummet. Our reputation will be destroyed. He paused for effect. Unless we act now. Remove Victoria from leadership. Remove Marcus Williams from the premises. Show the world that this company doesn't tolerate deception. Victoria stood. This is absurd. Those documents are forgeries. I've spoken with Captain Reeves personally. Captain Reeves is not here. Harrison smiled. And her word means nothing without proof. Then let me provide some. Everyone turned. Captain Diana Reeves stood in the doorway. Full-dress uniform, medals gleaming. 2 military police officers behind her. Harrison's face went white. Mr. Harrison! Reeves's voice was ice. I'm Captain Diana Reeves, United States Navy Special Operations Command. I understand you've been distributing falsified military documents. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't? Reeves walked forward, each step deliberate. Because I have digital forensics showing those documents were created on a computer registered to your home address. Printed on paper purchased from an office supply store in Connecticut 3 weeks ago, containing signatures forged from publicly available images. Harrison's supporters began shifting away from him. This is outrageous. You can't just— I can, and I will. Reeves handed a folder to the board member nearest her. These are Master Sergeant Marcus Williams' actual service records. 16 years of distinguished service. Silver Star. Purple Heart with 2 clusters. Bronze Star with Valor. 4 Army Commendation Medals. Combat Infantryman Badge. The board member opened the folder. His eyes widened as he read. There's also documentation of Operation Desert Serpent, Reeves continued. Classified until 3 days ago when we received approval to release a summary for exactly this purpose. She turned to face Harrison directly. Master Sergeant Williams saved 9 American lives under conditions that would have broken most men. He carried 3 wounded soldiers through 14 miles of hostile territory. He killed 8 enemy combatants in close combat to protect his team. He held his best friend while that friend died in his arms. Her voice hardened. And you tried to destroy his reputation with forgeries created in your home office. Because you were afraid of a janitor. Harrison's face was purple. I have lawyers. I have rights. This is harassment. This is justice. Reeves stepped closer. Forging military documents is a federal crime. The FBI will be opening an investigation by end of business today, and I will personally ensure that every news outlet that ran your story receives the truth within the hour. The boardroom was silent. Harrison looked around the table, searching for allies, finding none. Robert. The oldest board member, a retired general named Patterson, spoke quietly. I've known you for 30 years. Worked with you. Trusted you. James, you have to understand. I understand perfectly. Patterson's voice was heavy with disgust. You tried to destroy a war hero because you were afraid of losing power. You lied to this board. You lied to the press. You tried to ruin a man who has given more to this country than you could ever imagine. He stood. I move for Robert Harrison's immediate removal from this board. All in favor. Every hand raised. Motion carries. Patterson looked at Harrison. Get out. Now. Harrison stood slowly, straightened his tie. tried to salvage some dignity. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Marcus spoke for the first time since Reeves arrived. You thought you could destroy me because I was invisible, because I was just a janitor, because people like me don't fight back. He stepped forward. I've fought enemies you can't imagine. I've survived things that would break you in seconds. And I'm still standing. Marcus's voice dropped. You wanted a war, Harrison. You got one, and you lost. Harrison left without another word. The door closed behind him. The room exhaled. Victoria was crying. She didn't try to hide it. Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me. Thank Captain Reeves. I'm thanking both of you. Victoria wiped her eyes. The job offer still stands. Director of Security Operations, full benefits, full authority. She paused. If you still want it. Marcus looked around the room, at the board members who'd doubted him, at Reeves who'd saved him, at Victoria who'd tried to make things right. I want it. Then it's yours. Patterson stepped forward, extended his hand. Welcome to the team, Master Sergeant. It's an honor. Marcus shook his hand. The honor is mine, sir. One by one the board members approached, shaking his hand, apologizing, offering congratulations. Marcus accepted it all with the same calm he'd carried through firefights. When the room finally emptied, only he and Reeves remained. Thank you, he said quietly, for everything. Don't thank me yet. Reeves smiled. I may need to call in that favor someday. Anytime, anywhere. I know. She headed for the door. Take care of that daughter of yours, Marcus. She needs you more than we do. I know. Reeves paused at the doorway. One more thing. Sarah Chen wanted me to give you something. She pulled a photograph from her pocket, handed it to him. A woman and a young girl. Both smiling. Both safe. Both home. Written on the back, thank you for bringing me back to my daughter, Sarah. Marcus stared at the photo for a long time. Two little girls. One in Libya, one in his apartment. Both alive because he'd chosen to act when others couldn't. He tucked the photo into his pocket. And for the first time in 5 years, Marcus Williams felt something he'd almost forgotten. Hope. The drive home took longer than usual. Marcus sat in traffic, the photograph of Sarah Chen and her daughter still in his pocket, the weight of the day pressing down on him. He'd won. Harrison was gone. The job was his. Everything he'd needed for Nia was finally within reach. So why did he feel like he was standing at the edge of a cliff? His phone buzzed. Victoria. Marcus, I wanted to make sure you're okay. That was intense. I've had worse mornings. I don't doubt it. She paused. The board wants to announce your appointment officially. Press conference tomorrow. Full coverage. Marcus's grip tightened on the steering wheel. No press. Marcus. I said no press. I don't want cameras. I don't want interviews. I don't want my face on the news. Why not? After what Harrison tried to do, people should know the truth about you. The people who matter already know. Marcus turned onto his street. I have a daughter. She goes to school. She has friends. I'm not going to turn her life into a circus because some reporters want a story. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I understand. We'll do a quiet internal announcement. No external press. Thank you. Marcus. Her voice softened. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice. Protecting her. That's what matters. It's the only thing that matters. He hung up as he pulled into the parking lot. Mrs. Patterson met him at the door. Her face was worried. She's been asking for you all day. I told her you had important meetings, but she kept looking out the window. Is she okay? She's fine. Just missed her daddy. Mrs. Patterson gathered her purse. Whatever happened today, Marcus, I can see it in your face. Something changed. A lot changed. Good change or bad change? Marcus thought about it. Good, I think. I hope. Mrs. Patterson patted his arm. Good is good. Don't question it. Just accept it. She left and Marcus walked into his apartment. Naya was on the couch wrapped in her purple blanket watching cartoons. She looked up when he entered and her face split into a grin. Daddy. She ran to him and he caught her, lifted her up, held her tight. Hey baby girl, how was your day? Boring. Mrs. Patterson made me do homework. She wrinkled her nose. Math is stupid. Math is important. Math is stupid and important. She looked at him closely. Daddy, you look different. Different how? Lighter, like something heavy went away. Marcus kissed her forehead. Maybe it did, baby. Maybe it did. Does that mean you're happy? Yeah, baby. I think I'm happy. Naya smiled. Good, because happy daddy makes the best spaghetti. He laughed. Actually laughed. A real sound he barely recognized. Then I guess I'm making spaghetti tonight. Extra cheese. Extra cheese. She hugged him tighter. I love you, Daddy. All the way to the moon. And back, baby. All the way back. The first week at his new job was chaos. Marcus arrived at the Grand Monarch at 6 a.m., spent 14 hours reviewing security protocols, and left at 8 p.m. He did this for 5 days straight, barely sleeping, barely eating, rebuilding the entire security infrastructure from the ground up. The gaps Harrison had left behind were worse than Marcus had imagined. Outdated surveillance systems, undertrained staff, emergency protocols that hadn't been updated in 8 years. How did this place survive this long? Marcus asked Gerald on the third day. Gerald shrugged. Luck mostly, and Eleanor Ashford's reputation. Nobody wanted to mess with her. Eleanor's gone. Luck runs out. We need actual security. He brought in 3 members of his old unit, veterans who'd gone private sector after leaving the military. Tank Washington, his massive former teammate from Somalia. Davis, the communications specialist who could hack anything. Miller, the logistics expert who could organize chaos into order. They arrived within 48 hours of his call. No questions asked. When Shadow Wolf called, you answered. Damn, brother. Tank stood in the middle of the security office looking around. You went from clearing buildings in Kandahar to protecting rich people's luggage. The luggage pays better. Does it, though? Tank grinned. Remember when we got hazard pay for that op in Niger? I remember you complaining about the food for 6 weeks straight. That wasn't food. That was punishment. Tank's face grew serious. You look good, Marcus. Better than the last time I saw you. Marcus knew what he meant. The last time Tank had seen him was at Keisha's funeral. Marcus had been a ghost then. Hollow. Barely functioning. I'm getting there. That little girl of yours, Nia, how's she doing? She's fighting, same as always. She gets that from you. Tank clapped him on the shoulder. Now show me what needs fixing. I didn't fly across the country to stand around looking pretty. By the end of the second week, the Grand Monarch had the most advanced security system of any hotel in the city. Victoria noticed. The board noticed. The staff noticed. The employees are talking about you, Victoria said during their Monday briefing. They say you actually listen to them, that you remember their names, that you treat them like people, not problems. That's how you build a team. It's not how Harrison did things. Harrison's gone. Yes, he is. Victoria leaned back in her chair. The FBI contacted me yesterday. They've completed their initial investigation. Harrison's facing federal charges for forging military documents. He's also being sued by 3 former employees for harassment. His lawyers are trying to negotiate a deal, but it's not looking good for him. Marcus felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just the same calm emptiness he'd carried through every battle. What about the company? Stock is up 12% since the announcement. Bookings are up 20%. It seems firing a corrupt board chairman is good for business. Victoria smiled slightly. Also, we've had 3 requests from high-profile clients specifically asking for your security services. Word travels fast in certain circles. What kind of clients? A tech CEO worth $4 billion, a foreign diplomat with known security concerns, and... She hesitated. A former president. Marcus stared at her. A former president. He's staying here next month for a charity event. His advance team wants to meet with you personally. I'm a janitor who got promoted 3 weeks ago. You're a decorated war hero who saved 4 American lives from a Libyan compound. That's what they see. Victoria stood. Marcus, I didn't hire you because I felt guilty. I hired you because you're the best person for this job. Stop acting like you don't deserve to be here. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I've spent 5 years being invisible. It's hard to unlearn. Then start learning something new. Victoria walked to the door. Start learning that you matter. That what you do matters. That people see you now, and they respect what they see. She left him alone in the office. Marcus looked at the security monitors. 50 screens showing every corner of the hotel. Staff moving through hallways. Guests checking in. Life happening. He'd spent 5 years watching from the shadows. Maybe it was time to step into the light. The call came at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Marcus was reviewing surveillance footage when his phone buzzed. Nia's school. Mr. Williams, this is Principal Davidson. Nia collapsed during lunch. The paramedics are taking her to St. Michael's. Marcus was in his car before the principal finished speaking. The drive took 11 minutes, felt like 11 hours. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, his knuckles went white. His mind raced through possibilities. Pain crisis, respiratory failure, stroke. All the complications he'd read about, all the worst-case scenarios he'd prepared for. Not again. Please. Not again. He'd watched Keisha collapse. Watched the life drain from her eyes while he stood helpless. He couldn't do it again. Couldn't survive it again. The emergency room was chaos. Marcus pushed through badge-out voice commanding. Nia Williams, 9 years old, brought in by ambulance. The nurse checked her screen. Room 7. Doctors are with her now. Marcus ran. Nia lay on the bed, small and pale against the white sheets. An oxygen mask covered her face. Monitors beeped. IV dripped. Daddy? Her voice was weak, scared but alive. He grabbed her hand. I'm here, baby. I'm here. A doctor approached. A woman in her 50s with kind eyes. Mr. Williams, I'm Dr. Chen. Nia had a severe sickle cell crisis. Her oxygen levels dropped significantly. We've stabilized her, but she needs to stay overnight for observation. Is she going to be okay? She's stable now. But this was a serious episode. We need to discuss her long-term care plan. Marcus nodded. Couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. Nia squeezed his hand. Don't be scared, Daddy. I'm being brave. He kissed her forehead, tears burning his eyes. I know, baby, I know. His phone buzzed. Victoria. He ignored it. Buzzed again. Gerald. Ignored. Again. 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 Finally, he checked. 17 missed calls. 23 messages. Victoria's text, emergency at the hotel. Something's happened. Please call me. Marcus looked at Nia, looked at his phone, his daughter, his job, his world, his responsibility. Go, Daddy. He turned. Nia was watching him. What? I can see your phone. Something's wrong. Her voice was tired but firm. You have to go. I'm not leaving you. Mrs. Patterson can come. She always comes. Naya squeezed his hand. You said heroes have to save people. That's their job. Go save people, Daddy. I'll be okay. Marcus's eyes burned. I'll be back in 2 hours. 3 at most. Promise? Promise. He called Mrs. Patterson. She was there in 15 minutes. Go, she said. I've got her. Marcus kissed Nia one more time. Then he left. The hardest thing he'd ever done was walk out of that hospital room. Harder than Somalia. Harder than burying Damon. Harder than watching Keisha die. But his daughter told him to go. And she was braver than he'd ever been. The Grand Monarch was surrounded by news vans when Marcus arrived. He parked in the back, entered through the service entrance. Old habits. Gerald met him in the hallway. What happened? It's bad, Marcus. Gerald's face was gray. A guest found a body in one of the suites. Apparent suicide. But something's wrong. Wrong how? The guest who found her. He's claiming it wasn't suicide. He's claiming he saw someone leaving the room. Marcus's blood went cold. Who was the victim? Gerald handed him a photo. A young woman, mid-20s, dark hair, familiar face. Emily Harrison, Gerald said. Robert Harrison's daughter. Marcus stared at the photo. Harrison's daughter. Found dead in a hotel owned by the woman who'd destroyed her father. This wasn't coincidence. This was set up. Where's Victoria? Being questioned by police. They're treating her as a person of interest. That's insane. She didn't. I know she didn't. But Harrison's lawyers are already spinning the story. Saying Victoria had motive. Saying Emily was going to testify against her father's prosecution. Marcus's mind raced. Harrison was in custody facing federal charges. His daughter shows up dead in Victoria's hotel. The narrative writes itself. Who found the body? A guest named Michael Torres, room 847. He says he was walking past the suite and heard a noise. Tried the door, found it unlocked. Found the body. Is Torres still here? Police are interviewing him now. I need to see the security footage. Gerald led him to the monitoring room. Marcus pulled up the recordings from the 8th floor. 4:17 p.m. Emily Harrison entering her suite. Alone. 4:23 p.m. A man walking down the hallway. Michael Torres, presumably. But something was wrong. Marcus rewound. Watched again. Torres wasn't walking toward his own room. He was walking from the stairwell, directly toward Emily's suite. And he wasn't surprised when he found the door unlocked. He didn't knock. He just opened it, like he expected it to be open. 4:24 p.m. Torres entering the suite. 4:31 p.m. Torres exiting, fast, looking left and right. 4:32 p.m. Torres on the phone, calling 911, 7 minutes. He was inside that room for 7 minutes before calling for help. Marcus pulled up Torres's check-in records. Room 847 had been booked 3 days ago. Paid in cash. No credit card on file. No ID verification beyond a driver's license that Marcus would bet was fake. He cross-referenced the timeline. 3 days ago. The same day Harrison was arrested. Someone had planned this. Someone had sent Torres to frame Victoria. And Emily Harrison was either a willing participant or an unwitting victim. Marcus picked up his phone, called Captain Reeves. Marcus, what's wrong? I need a favor, a big one. Name it. Run a background check on a man named Michael Torres. Florida driver's license, probably fake. I need to know who he really is and who's paying him. What's going on? Someone's trying to frame Victoria Ashford for murder. And I think Harrison's behind it, even from custody. Reeves was silent for a moment. I'll have something for you within the hour. Thank you. Marcus. Her voice was careful. Be careful. If Harrison has allies willing to kill his own daughter to take Victoria down, they won't hesitate to come after you. Let them come. He hung up. 47 minutes later, Reeves called back. Michael Torres doesn't exist. The ID was created 6 months ago. But I traced the digital footprint to a private security firm called Blackstone Associates. Marcus's blood ran cold. He knew that name. Blackstone works for defense contractors, high-profile corporate espionage, dirty work that legitimate firms won't touch. They also have connections to Harrison's former business partners, 2 of them specifically, men who lost millions when Harrison's fraud was exposed. They're cleaning up. Harrison's going down, so they're taking Victoria with him. Scorched earth. That's my read. Reeves paused. Marcus, the FBI needs to handle this. You can't. The FBI takes time. Victoria doesn't have time. The police are building a case against her right now based on Torres's lies. What are you going to do? Marcus looked at the security footage frozen on his screen. Torres's face. Calm. Professional. The face of a man who'd done this before. I'm going to do what I was trained to do. He found Torres in the hotel bar. The man was sitting alone nursing a drink, watching the police activity with manufactured concern. He didn't notice Marcus until Marcus sat down beside him. Nice work upstairs. Torres turned. His face was carefully neutral, but his eyes flickered with recognition. He knew who Marcus was. I'm sorry. The setup. Emily Harrison. The fake suicide. Marcus kept his voice low, conversational. Took me about 30 minutes to figure it out. Would have been faster, but I had to check on my daughter at the hospital. Torres's hand moved slightly toward his jacket. Don't. Marcus's voice hardened. I've killed men faster than you in darker places than this. Don't test me. Torres's hand stopped. I don't know what you're talking about. You walked from the stairwell, not from your room. You opened that door without knocking. You spent 7 minutes inside before calling 911. Marcus leaned closer. 7 minutes is a long time. Long enough to stage a scene. Long enough to make a murder look like a suicide. Torres's jaw tightened. The question is whether you killed her or just found her already dead. I'm guessing you found her. Blackstone's good, but they usually outsource the wet work. Torres flinched at the name. Here's what's going to happen. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed Torres the screen. A recorded conversation. Torres's voice giving instructions to someone about the Harrison situation. Captain Diana Reeves, United States Navy Special Operations Command, just sent this to the FBI. They're on their way now. You have about 15 minutes before they arrest you. Torres's face went white. You can run. You won't get far, but you can try. Or. Marcus pocketed the phone. You can tell me who hired you, who ordered this, and I'll make sure the FBI knows you cooperated. They'll kill me. Maybe. But I'll definitely kill you if you don't talk. Marcus's voice was flat. Empty. The voice of a man who'd done this before. I've lost people I loved. I've killed people who deserved it. One more won't change anything for me. But it'll change everything for you. Torres stared at him. Saw the truth in his eyes. It was Harrison's partners, Reynolds and Cho. They set the whole thing up. Emily was supposed to testify against her father to reduce his sentence. They couldn't let that happen. So they killed her. They made it look like Victoria did it. 2 birds, 1 stone. Torres's voice shook. I was just supposed to find the body, make the call, point the police in the right direction. And Emily? Dead when I got there. I swear. I didn't kill her. I'm not a murderer. You're an accessory to murder. That's close enough. Marcus stood. The FBI will be here in 10 minutes. I suggest you stay exactly where you are. He walked away without looking back. Victoria was in the security office when he returned. Her eyes were red. Her hands were shaking. Marcus, the police think I know, and I fixed it. He handed her his phone. The recording played. Torres's confession. Names, dates, Everything the FBI needed. Victoria stared at the screen. How did you? It doesn't matter how. What matters is that you're clear. Torres is being arrested right now. The FBI is picking up Reynolds and Cho within the hour. Emily Harrison is dead. Yes. She was 26 years old. Victoria's voice cracked. She had nothing to do with her father's crimes. She was going to testify against him. She was trying to do the right thing. Marcus said nothing. There was nothing to say. They killed her to protect themselves. They killed an innocent woman because it was convenient. Victoria looked at him. How do you live in a world where people do that? Marcus thought about Somalia, about Damon, about all the innocent people he'd seen die for no reason at all. You don't live in it, you survive it, and you try to make sure it happens less often. Victoria wiped her eyes. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. You should call your lawyer. The FBI will want to interview you, but you're not a suspect anymore. I will. She paused. Your daughter. Is she okay? Marcus's heart clenched. In all the chaos, he'd almost forgotten. I need to get back to the hospital. Go. Now. I'll handle things here. Marcus was halfway to the door when Victoria's voice stopped him. Marcus? He turned. You saved me today. You saved my company. You saved my future. Her eyes were wet. I won't forget that. Ever. Marcus nodded once. Then he ran. Nia was awake when he returned. Mrs. Patterson was asleep in the chair beside her, but Nia's eyes were open watching the door. When she saw Marcus, her face lit up. Daddy, you came back. He rushed to her side, took her hand, kissed her forehead. I promised, didn't I? You were gone a long time. I know, baby. I'm sorry. There was an emergency. Did you save the people? Marcus thought about Victoria, about Emily Harrison, about Torres and Reynolds and Cho. I tried, baby. I tried. Nia nodded solemnly. That's what heroes do. They try. How are you feeling? Better. The doctor said I can go home tomorrow if my numbers stay good. She squeezed his hand. Daddy. Yeah, baby. I was scared when you left, but then I remembered what you said. Being brave means being scared and doing it anyway. She smiled. So I was brave. For you. Marcus's eyes burned. He blinked hard. You're the bravest person I know, Nia. You always have been. I know, she grinned. But you're pretty brave too, for a daddy. He laughed, a real laugh, the sound of healing. Get some sleep, baby. I'll be right here when you wake up. Promise? Promise. She closed her eyes. Within minutes, her breathing evened out. Marcus sat in the chair beside her bed, holding her hand, watching her sleep. Outside, the city continued its chaos. People scheming, people dying, people trying to destroy each other for power and money and revenge. But in this room, there was peace. In this room, there was his daughter. In this room, there was everything that mattered. Marcus leaned back, closed his eyes, and let himself rest. For the first time in 5 years, he didn't dream of war. He dreamed of home. 6 weeks passed. Marcus settled into a rhythm he hadn't known in years. Up at 5. Coffee. Check on Nia. Drive her to school. Office by 7. Security briefings. Protocol reviews. Team meetings. Home by 4:30. Dinner. Homework. Bedtime stories. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but it was the life he'd built, and for the first time since Keisha died, it felt like enough. The Grand Monarch flourished under his watch. Word spread through executive protection circles. The hotel, with the Special Forces director. High-value clients started requesting the property by name. The former president's visit went flawlessly. 3 more heads of state followed. Victoria noticed. The board noticed. The staff noticed. Even the ghosts of the past seemed to quiet down. Reynolds and Cho were convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. Harrison's sentence was extended by 15 years. The FBI closed the case on Emily Harrison's death. Justice, or something close to it. Marcus didn't celebrate. He'd learned long ago that victories in one battle meant nothing if you lost the war. And his war was never about corporations or criminals. His war was about one little girl who needed her father. Everything else was just noise. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning. Victoria handed him the envelope personally. Heavy paper, gold lettering, the Grand Monarch's logo embossed on the seal. "The company gala," she said. "3 weeks from Saturday. The board wants to honor you publicly." Marcus stared at the envelope. "I don't need honors. It's not about what you need. It's about what you deserve." Victoria sat down across from him. "Marcus, you've been hiding for 5 years, working in shadows, pretending to be invisible. But you're not invisible anymore. People see you, they respect you, they want to celebrate what you've done." "I haven't done anything special." "You saved 4 American hostages. You exposed a murder conspiracy. You built the best security operation this company has ever seen." Victoria leaned forward. "And you did it all while raising a daughter alone, while dealing with her illness, while carrying grief that would have broken most people." Marcus said nothing. "The gala isn't just for you," Victoria continued. "It's for the staff, for the employees who watched Harrison humiliate people for years, for everyone who needs to see that good people can win." She paused. "It's for Nia, so she can see her father honored the way he should be." Marcus looked at the envelope, then at Victoria. "She's the only audience I care about." "I know. That's why she should be there." Victoria stood. "Think about it, please." She left him alone with the invitation. That night, Marcus sat on Nia's bed while she did her homework. "Daddy?" "Yeah, baby." "You've been staring at that envelope for 20 minutes." Marcus looked down. The invitation was still in his hand. He hadn't even realized he'd brought it home. "It's an invitation. To a party at the hotel." "What kind of party?" "The fancy kind. Dresses and suits and important people." Nia's eyes lit up. "Can I come?" "That's what I'm trying to decide." "Why wouldn't I come? I love parties." Marcus hesitated. "Because at this party they want to honor me. Talk about me in front of everyone. Put me on a stage." Nia tilted her head. "Like a superhero award ceremony." "Something like that." "And you don't want to go?" "I don't like attention, baby. You know that." Nia set down her pencil, gave him the look that meant she was about to say something wise beyond her years. "Daddy, Mrs. Patterson says that people who do good things should let other people know, so other people learn to do good things too." "Mrs. Patterson says a lot of things." "She's usually right." Nia crossed her arms. "And Mommy said you were a hero who didn't like being called a hero, but that doesn't mean you're not one." Marcus's throat tightened. "What else did Mommy say?" "She said someday you'd have to stop hiding, that the world needed to see you the way she saw you." Nia's voice softened. "I think she'd want you to go to the party, Daddy. I think she'd want me to see it." Marcus stared at his daughter. 9 years old. Sickle cell disease. Lost her mother at 4. And still somehow the wisest person he knew. "Okay, baby, we'll go." Nia grinned. "Can I get a new dress?" "We'll see." "That means yes." "That means we'll see." "That definitely means yes." She picked up her pencil, went back to her homework. "Daddy." "Yeah." "I'm proud of you for saying yes." Marcus kissed the top of her head. "I'm proud of you too, baby, for being braver than me." "I know," she smiled. "I learned it from you." The night of the gala arrived cold and clear. Marcus stood in front of the mirror adjusting a tie he hadn't worn since Keisha's funeral. Black suit, white shirt, silver cufflinks that had belonged to Damon. He hadn't worn them in 5 years. Hadn't been able to look at them without seeing Damon's face. Tonight, he wore them anyway. "Daddy!" Nia burst through the door, spinning in her new dress, purple with silver sparkles. She'd spent 30 minutes at the store choosing it. "How do I look?" "Like a princess." "I know." She grinned, no false modesty. "You look like a movie star daddy." "I feel like a fraud." "Mrs. Patterson says frauds don't feel like frauds, so you're definitely not one." Marcus laughed. "When did you get so smart?" "I've always been smart. You just weren't paying attention." He knelt down, took her hands. "I'm paying attention now." "Good." She squeezed his fingers. "Because tonight is important, and I want to remember every second of it." "Why?" "Because tonight everyone gets to see what I already know." Nia's eyes were bright. "That my daddy is a hero, and heroes deserve to be celebrated." Marcus pulled her into a hug, held on longer than usual. "I love you, Nia. You know that. I know Daddy, all the way to the moon. And back." "That's really far." "Not far enough." The Grand Monarch Ballroom had been transformed. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, 500 guests in formal attire, executives, politicians, military officials, press. The company had spared no expense. Marcus entered through the main doors, Nia's hand in his. Every head turned. He felt exposed, vulnerable, like a target in an open field. Then Nia squeezed his hand. "You've got this, Daddy." He squeezed back. Yeah, I do." Victoria met them near the entrance. She wore a silver gown, elegant but understated. The Ice Queen image was gone completely. "Marcus." "Nia." She knelt down to Nia's level. "You look absolutely stunning." "Thank you. You look like Elsa from Frozen." Victoria laughed. "That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all month." She stood, turned to Marcus. "How are you holding up?" "Surviving." "You'll do more than survive. You'll shine." She gestured toward the crowd. "These people came to see a hero. Don't disappoint them." Before he could respond, a commotion near the entrance drew their attention. A group of men walked in. Civilian clothes, but Marcus recognized them immediately. The way they carried themselves. The way their eyes swept the room. The way they moved as a unit. His team. His brothers. The survivors of Operation Desert Serpent. "Shadow Wolf." The shout came from a massive man at the front of the group. Sergeant First Class Jerome "Tank" Washington. 6'4". Built like a linebacker. Tears streaming down his face. Tank pushed through the crowd, wrapped Marcus in a bear hug that lifted him off his feet. 5 years, brother. 5 years without a word. We thought you were dead." "I'm sorry, Tank. I couldn't." "Couldn't what?" "Pick up a phone, send an email." Tank pulled back, hands on Marcus's shoulders. "We've been looking for you, man. All of us." The others surrounded them now. Davis, Miller, Park. Men Marcus had bled with, fought with, survived with. Men he'd abandoned. "I'm sorry," Marcus said again. "After Keisha died, I needed to disappear. For Nia. We would have helped. I know, but I couldn't ask. Couldn't face you." Marcus looked at each of them. "Every time I saw your faces, I saw Damon, saw Rivera, saw Chen, and I couldn't." His voice broke. Tank gripped his shoulder. "We lost them too, Marcus. We carry them too. But we don't carry them alone. That's what brothers do." Nia tugged Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, who are these men?" Marcus knelt down. "These are my brothers, baby. From the army. The ones you saved." Tank laughed through his tears. "She knows about that. She knows everything." Tank crouched down to Nia's level. Your daddy saved my life, little one. Carried me 3 miles through enemy territory with bullets flying everywhere. You know what he said when I told him to leave me behind? Nia shook her head. He said, "We don't leave family." And then he picked me up like I weighed nothing and just kept running. Tank's voice was thick. Your daddy is the bravest man I've ever known. Nia beamed. I know. He's my superhero. Tank looked at Marcus. Something passed between them. Understanding. Forgiveness. Brotherhood restored. She's beautiful, Marcus. Just like Keisha. She has her mother's spirit, and her mother's stubbornness, and her father's heart. Tank stood, wiped his eyes. Now come on. There's a whole room waiting to honor you. Don't make them wait. The ceremony began at 8. Victoria took the stage. The crowd quieted. Thank you all for being here tonight. This event has special significance for our company and for me personally. She paused, collected herself. 8 weeks ago, I made a terrible mistake. I fired a man in front of his colleagues, humiliated him, stripped him of his dignity. The room was silent. I did it because I was afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of appearing weak. Victoria's voice wavered. But that man, that janitor, as I saw him, turned out to be a decorated war hero, a master sergeant who saved 9 lives in combat, a single father who sacrificed everything for his daughter. Her eyes found Marcus in the crowd. And instead of hating me for what I did, he gave me grace. He taught me that true strength isn't about control. It's about seeing people for who they really are. She gestured toward the side of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Marcus Williams. The applause was thunderous. Marcus walked to the stage, Nia's hand still in his. He hadn't planned to bring her up, but she refused to let go. I'm coming with you, Daddy. So they walked together, father and daughter, soldier and child. General Patterson, now chairman of the board, met them at the podium. He held a velvet box. Master Sergeant Williams, on behalf of the Grand Monarch Hospitality Group, and in recognition of your extraordinary service to this company and to your country, it is my honor to present you with this commendation. He opened the box. Inside, a crystal eagle mounted on a marble base, engraved for valor, leadership, and unwavering dedication to excellence. We also want to announce the creation of the Williams Family Foundation, Patterson continued, a charitable program dedicated to supporting employees facing medical hardships, single parents, and families in crisis. This program exists because of your example, Master Sergeant, because you showed us what it means to put family first while still serving others. More applause. Cameras flashing. Marcus took the award, stared at it. Then he looked out at the crowd. I don't have a speech prepared. I'm not good at speeches. In the Army, we communicated with hand signals and short bursts on the radio. Anything longer than 3 sentences was considered rambling. Laughter rippled through the room. But there are some things I need to say, things I should have said a long time ago. He looked at his brothers standing in the front row. To my team, Tank, Davis, Miller, Park. I'm sorry I disappeared. I was broken and I thought hiding was the same as healing. It wasn't. You deserved better. Damon deserved better. Tank nodded, silent tears on his face. To Victoria. Marcus found her in the crowd. Thank you for seeing me. Not the janitor. Not the soldier. Me. The broken man trying to put himself back together. You gave me a chance when you didn't have to. That means more than any award. Victoria wiped her eyes. And to my daughter. Marcus looked down at Nia, her face tilted up toward his, eyes shining. Everything I am, everything I've done since your mother died, it's all been for you. You're the reason I get up in the morning. You're the reason I keep fighting. You're the reason I believe tomorrow can be better than today. Nia's lip trembled. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby. All the way to the moon and back. The room erupted. Standing ovation. 500 people on their feet applauding a man who'd spent 5 years trying to be invisible. Marcus stood there, award in one hand, daughter's hand in the other, and he let himself be seen. It terrified him. It also healed him. The reception spilled across the ballroom for hours. Marcus found himself surrounded by people he'd never met. Executives wanting to shake his hand. Military officials wanting to reconnect. Reporters wanting interviews. He handled it all with the same calm he'd carried through combat. One person at a time. One conversation at a time. One breath at a time. Captain Reeves found him near the bar. "You did good up there, Master Sergeant." Felt like walking through a minefield without a map. She laughed. "Public speaking is worse than combat. At least in combat, you can shoot back." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. "The Navy misses you, Marcus." "I'm not going back." "I know, but I wanted you to hear it anyway." Reeves paused. "What you did for those hostages in Libya, what you did to expose Harrison's people, the Pentagon took notice. They respect you." "I don't need their respect." "No, you need your daughter's respect, and you have it." Reeves glanced toward the dance floor, where Naya was teaching Tank some elaborate handclap routine. "She's special, that one. She's everything." "Then make sure she knows it. Every day." Reeves's voice softened. "Kids grow up fast. Don't waste a second." At 10 o'clock, Marcus found Victoria on the balcony. She was alone, staring at the city lights. The night was cool, stars visible despite the glow. "Hiding out here?" She turned, smiled. "Recovering. You?" "Same." He joined her at the railing. "Hell of a night." "You were amazing up there. You know that?" "I survived. That's all." "More than survived. You inspired people." Victoria turned to face him. 3 board members told me tonight they want to implement similar foundations at their own companies. What you started here, it's going to spread. It's not about me. It's absolutely about you, your story, your example. She paused. "You made me want to be better. You make everyone want to be better." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Your mother would be proud." Victoria's breath caught. "You think so?" "I know so. You've built something real here. Something lasting. That's not easy." "It feels easy when I have the right people beside me." She touched his arm. "Thank you, Marcus. For everything. Thank you for seeing me. Seeing you was the easiest thing I've ever done." They stood together watching the stars. Inside, Nia was dancing with Tank, spinning in circles, laughing. Marcus watched her through the glass. "She's going to be okay," Victoria said. "I know. So are you." He looked at her. This woman who'd humiliated him, who'd fired him, who'd forced him back into the light. "Yeah," he said. "I think I am." The gala ended at midnight. Marcus carried a sleeping Nia to the car. Tank and the others promised to visit. Victoria promised to call. Reeves promised to stay in touch. The drive home was quiet, city lights flashing past, Nia's soft breathing from the back seat. Marcus thought about everything that had happened. The firing, the helicopter, the rescue, the battle with Harrison, the gala. 8 weeks that changed everything. Or maybe they hadn't changed anything at all. Maybe they'd just revealed what was always there. A hero hiding in plain sight. A father fighting for his daughter. A good man trying to do right in a broken world. At home, he carried Nia to her bed, tucked her in, watched her sleep. His phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. A photo. Sarah Chen standing with her daughter Emma. Both smiling, both safe. The caption, "Because of you. Thank you, Shadow Wolf." Marcus stared at the photo for a long time. 2 little girls, one in Libya, one in his apartment, both alive because he'd chosen to act when others couldn't. He put the phone away, sat in the chair beside Naya's bed. "Daddy." Her voice was sleepy, half awake. "Yeah, baby. Tonight was fun." "It was." "Your friends are nice. Tank is funny." "He is." "Daddy." "Yeah, I'm proud of you. Marcus's chest tightened. I'm proud of you too, baby. I know. She smiled, eyes still closed. But you never say you're proud of yourself. You should be. Why? Because Mrs. Patterson says people should be proud of who they are, not just what they do. Naya yawned. You should be proud of who you are, Daddy. You're really good. She drifted back to sleep. Marcus sat in the darkness, listening to her breathe, thinking about her words. His whole life he'd defined himself by missions. Achievements, failures, the men he'd saved, the men he'd lost, the wife he'd buried, the career he'd abandoned. But Naya didn't see any of that. She saw her dad, the man who made her breakfast, who helped with homework, who held her when she was scared. That was enough for her. Maybe it could be enough for him, too. Marcus looked around the small apartment. The worn furniture, the crayon drawings on the refrigerator, the medical bills on the counter. It wasn't much, but it was home. And in the next room, his daughter was sleeping peacefully, dreaming of purple dresses and dancing with giants, and a father who finally let himself be seen. Marcus leaned back in the chair, closed his eyes. For the first time in 5 years, he didn't dream of war. He dreamed of home. The next morning came soft and golden. Marcus woke early, made pancakes, let Nia sleep in. When she finally emerged, rubbing her eyes, the kitchen smelled like maple syrup and bacon. Daddy pancakes with chocolate chips. You earned them. They ate together at the kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the windows. No rush, no pressure, just a father and daughter sharing a meal. Daddy. Yeah, baby. What are we going to do today? Marcus thought about it. The weekend stretched ahead, empty and full of possibility. What do you want to do? Can we go to the park and get ice cream and maybe see a movie? All of that. It's Saturday. Saturdays are for adventures. Marcus smiled. Adventures it is. They spent the day exactly as Naya planned. The park first. Swings and slides and games she'd learned at school. Then ice cream. 2 scoops each. Then a movie. Something animated with talking animals. By evening, they were exhausted in the best way. Walking home, Nia held his hand. Her grip was strong despite her small fingers. Daddy? Yeah, baby. This was the best day ever. Better than the gala. Way better. The gala had too many grown-ups. She wrinkled her nose. And the food was weird. Marcus laughed. Fair point. Daddy. Yeah. Are you going to stay at the hotel with Victoria? I think so. Why? Because you seem happy there. Happier than when you were cleaning floors. Marcus stopped walking, looked at his daughter. You noticed that. I notice everything. She shrugged. You used to come home tired and sad. Now you come home tired and happy. That's different. 9 years old, saw more than most adults. Yeah, baby. I'm happier now. Good. She grinned. You deserve to be happy. So do you. I already am. She squeezed his hand. I have you. They walked the rest of the way home in comfortable silence. That night after Nia was asleep, Marcus sat on the couch with a cup of coffee. His phone buzzed. Victoria. How was your day? Perfect. Nia planned the whole thing. She's got good instincts. Better than mine. Victoria laughed softly. I doubt that, but I'm glad you had a good day. You deserve it. So do you. I'm working on it. She paused. Marcus. Yeah. Thank you. For everything. For giving me a second chance. For showing me how to be better. You showed yourself. I just held up the mirror. Then thank you for that too. Her voice was warm. Good night, Marcus. Good night, Victoria. He set down the phone, looked around the apartment. Small, worn, home. Keisha had never seen this place. She'd died before they moved here, before everything changed. But sometimes, late at night, Marcus could feel her presence. In the warmth of the apartment. In Nia's laugh. In the way the light hit the windows at sunset. She was gone. But she wasn't gone. She lived on in their daughter. In the values they'd shared. In the love that death couldn't erase. "I miss you," Marcus whispered to the empty room. "Every day. But I'm okay now. We're okay." No answer came. None was expected. But somewhere, somehow, he felt her smile. He finished his coffee. Checked on Nia one more time. Then he went to bed. And for the first time in 5 years, Marcus Williams slept through the night. No nightmares. No ghosts. No wars. Just peace. Just home. Just a father who finally understood that the greatest battle wasn't fought with weapons. It was fought with love. And love always won. Some people spend their whole lives searching for purpose, for meaning, for something worth fighting for. Marcus Williams found his. Not in medals or missions or military glory. In a 9-year-old girl who saw him for exactly who he was. A man who showed up, who stayed, who loved without condition. A father, a hero. Not because he was fearless, because he was afraid and he did it anyway. The shadows would always be there. They always would be. But so was the light. And the light was winning. Marcus Williams was no longer invisible. He was finally fully, completely seen. And that made all the difference.